Happy Tuesday, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome into our Tuesday live show right here on the Chiefs Report. I'm excited you chose us here and are joining us on a bright Tuesday afternoon where we're going to talk about the Chiefs and hopefully what can be at stake in the upcoming weeks. But obviously, we got first thing to do here. We've done it every week. We can't break the mojo now. So our first question on today's live show, let's get the chat rolling a little bit. Let everybody kind of flow in before we get the show started. Who you got in this Sunday's game? The Chiefs taking on the Chargers to round out their regular season. Let's see what you got. What's up, everybody? Time and the Buckeyes in the chat. Sup, Time Man? What's up, my guy? Melissa Purper says fire Nagy. We're going to talk about that. Don't worry. Sheila Geyer says KC. Time and the Buckeye. Luis Mendoza typing KC. Kemper is flying. Typing KC. Era Strike. Typing KC. Paul D. Amos. Typing KC. Gavin Bra, type in KC. We got Tony Fuentes in the chat. Cole Kelher. DJ, what's up, DJ? Everybody kind of loading in here. We're going to get this show started. Got a pretty packed show to you. LAC, sorry. Don't be sorry, Carter, but I mean, just going to let you know you're on the wrong boat, unfortunately. Now, I mean, luckily for the Chiefs, it doesn't matter. If they lose, they're the 3 seed. If they win, they're the 3 seed. It does not matter. It matters who they play, but it doesn't. That's because they lose or lost. It lose or win doesn't mean that affects them. Melissa, Fire, and Nagy, we're going to talk about all that. Gilbert Shaw in here. Gavin saying we need George Pickens. Hey, GM EV, maybe we can talk about the Dalvin Cook potential. We could talk about that. But we're going to have a mailbag later in the show. So if you want to start getting your questions in, use hashtag Chiefs, or you can super chat. Just hashtag Chiefs and then your question. We're going to be able to put it on the screen, show your little face, and we'll answer your question as we put your question up there. So let me know. Just hashtag Chiefs and get a question there. We'll have the mailbag coming up here in the latter part of this show. We're also going to talk about the latest rumors here as potential for everybody to be sitting this upcoming week and maybe not seeing Patrick Mahomes. Maybe Pacheco takes a rest for a week. Obviously, since you're locked in a 3 seed, doesn't make sense for you to play all your starters. We'll tell you kind of what exactly Andy Reid said about it, what Patrick Mahomes said about it, and kind of pretty much everything that was said about that. Jamar Chase also had some, let's just say, interesting words for the Chiefs defense, and the words did not stop. I like all the questions coming in there. DJ, Tony, and GMEV all doing the hashtag Chiefs. I like that. Keep those questions coming in, and we will basically hit them on the show later, but I appreciate everybody kind of rolling in here, doing everything. Jace, do you see Casey reaching out to tackle Lyle Collins? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to reach out to him. He seems like at this point, their offensive line has been pretty stable, so it just doesn't make sense, but that's all right. Well, before we get today's show going, I got to tell you about one of our sponsors, and that is Factor Meals. Now, Factor is the #1 meal prepping destination as you can get started with your New Year's revolution with Factor. So you're ready for the New Year's. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, plus veggie, and more. Over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your revolution. Forget frantic lunch preps and rush dinners. Factor's 2-minute meals are your secret weapon in the new year. Fuel up fast with restaurant-quality meals, all delivered right to your door. Need a special occasion meal? Gourmet Plus is the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, upscale options done easily. Now, here's the best part. If you head to factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50 and use that code ChiefsChat50, you're going to get 50% off. So once again, we're going to put it in the comments. We're going to put it in the description. We're going to put it in the chat. That's code ChiefsChat50 at factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50 to get 50% off. I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. Their smoothies are amazing. Go check it out at factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50. All right, if you would like to get Eric Bieniemy back, then I want you to type EB. I've seen some people in the chat already saying they want EB back. So let's see. Anybody out there want to get Eric Bieniemy back for this upcoming playoff run, maybe even next year? What are we thinking? I know Tony was the first one talking about it. about if there's a way for getting Eric Bieniemy back. We can talk about that in this show. Kemper is flying. DJ saying EB. Shad Jameson saying EB. All right, so we got a couple of y'all. We got a couple of y'all saying that y'all want to see Eric Bieniemy back, most likely next year GM. That's kind of my thought. There was a report that he could come back for the playoffs, which has happened before, but it's one thing of that'd be kind of hard to see. Andy Nab typing EB. Cole Kelleher. Sam typing yes, EB. Duran President typing EB. And Michael Waite typing EB. I like to see it. Just keep typing EB, man. I think overall he's the one that maybe be the best option if you can get him, but I don't know how likely it'll be just because it seems like a lot of people are wanting to pursue him for a head coaching role, which makes sense. He's earned the right to do that. He's turned Washington's offense into something that is actually feasible. So makes sense, but I still think the Chiefs have an outside shot if he is indeed fired. So we'll see about that. But we're about getting ready for our show here, but tell you about our other sponsor on today's show. That's Prize Picks. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. If you don't know what Prize Picks is, it's a skill-based real money daily fantasy sports game, and you can combo projections across the NFL, NBA. They have MLB now. They have got the season totals for MLB, so if you want to get started on that. Here's my little two-man entry for this weekend that I've already got set up. I've got two teams that are looking to go to the playoffs. Baker Mayfield with a win goes to the playoffs, so I'm going to take the more on his passing yards. Jonathan Taylor and the Colts looking to remain in the playoff hunt. They need to win over Houston to do that. So I'm going to go the more on his rushing yards. Two-star players from teams that, need a win to stay alive here in this 2023 season as the final week comes closer. There's my picks. You can go fade me. You can go put those same picks in. But if you do it, either way, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. That way you get that first deposit match of up to $100. Now, Prize Picks is also super cool because they offer a rebate policy so that even if one of those players does get injured, the entry is going to stay in play. So, for instance, say Baker or Jonathan Taylor was injured in the first half and then did not return in the second, that player would then be rebooted. So, Prize Picks is pretty cool because it's the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So, final time, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks, man. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Shout out your city. Where are you watching from? I know we got some people kind of still rolling in here as we're getting ready to get this going. We're getting people make sure that got all the time going to get snacks. If you need to go get a drink before we get started, go do it now. We're about to get going here in literally just a couple minutes. But for now, shout out your city. Where are you watching this Chiefs Report live show from? Also, I see Paul with the question. I see Shad with the question. I see DJ. I love it. I love it. Keep using hashtag Chiefs. We're going to get to that mailbag here at the later part of the show. DJ from Hagerstown, Maryland. We got Granzy from Springfield, Missouri. Tony, happy pre-birthday here coming up in 2 weeks. Christian Volk, Independence. Cole Kellner from Wichita. Kevin Nelson from Oak Grove, Missouri. I like it. Where are you watching from? Tony Fuentes from Dallas. We got Lynn Doyle from Indianapolis. Christian, we're going to talk about if the starters are playing. That's the first segment on today's show, as we got Amy Cassie from Waterloo, Iowa. We're talking all about it. We got talking about if the starters are going to play, talking about the whole L'Jarius Sneed, Jamar Chase drama, and we're going to talk about Matt Nagy replacements before we get to that mailbag. That if you want to get in on, use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to skip the line. We got Samuel Woodson from Kansas City. Paul Amos from Tonganoxie, Kansas, and Diamond from the Buckeye from Ohio. Sam from Hamilton, New Jersey. What's up, Sam? Happy you chose to join us. Well, speaking of you asking if the starters were playing, I do have a question to ask, given we're kind of going to go into this in just a minute. Would you play the starters in Week 18? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. Are you playing Patrick Mahomes? Are you playing, any of the starters, to be honest? You're locked in at the 3 seed. You can't move back. You can't move forward. There's no reason to win the game. There's no reason to lose the game as well. I mean, you want positive momentum, but are you playing the starters in Week 18? Y for yes and for no. Jonathan Earl saying yes. Samuel Woodson saying yes. Tony Fuentes saying no. Tyman saying yes. Tony and Gavin Bross saying no. I like it. DJ, we do not have producer Sam today, but, since you asked, we can introduce. He had to go to the bathroom, so kind of took a little bit. But we'll introduce producer Tex from last week. He's back with us. 2 weeks in a row.
What's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Doing good.
Sorry about Texas.
It's okay, man.
Producer Tex for Texas.
Yeah, that secondary got exposed by Michael Penix Jr., didn't it?
Hey, it's okay, though. Adonai Mitchell, Jatavion Sanders, those are future Chiefs right there.
Yeah, they are.
Future Chiefs right there. Adonai
Big
Mitchell
time.
and Jatavion, bang, bang. Paul D, Y for yes. Kevin Nelson in for no. I would play the starters for the first half, let them get their yards back up, let Kelsey get 1,000, Rice and Isiah. That's where I think the problem comes in because Kelsey, Rice, and Isiah are all pretty close to 1,000 yards. More so Rice and Isiah. I mean, Kelsey, yeah, okay, cool, but, Cole Counter, yes, because we play wild card weekend. Correct. I think that's the thing. If you want to keep the positive momentum, like I don't want to just sit the starters and then have to play immediately. Like it doesn't make sense. Just get them going. So, well, like I said, we do have the mailbag coming up here later in the show. So use hashtag Chiefs or you can super chat to kind of skip that line and jump up above everybody. Guarantees you get on the show if you super chat. Plus, if you do, any super chat is a personalized Chiefs chat. It's our usual Deer Hill on the Chiefs Report Tuesday live shows. Sometimes those personalized Chiefs shops, they're on wheel spins on our Sunday streams, and they're $5 usually, and they're only first-time super chatters. This time, it's any super chat. Literally $1.99 doesn't matter. You get your question on the show, plus you get a personalized Chiefs shop. But if you don't have to do that, no worries. No pressure to do so. Hashtag Chiefs, and we'll try to do our best to get as many questions as possible. But again, no guarantee we get everyone's on there. But hashtag Chiefs, and we'll be able to potentially get you on. Speaking of the mailbag, we got 2 segments to do before that, though. We're going to talk the latest Chiefs rumors, which kind of involves if the Chiefs will play the starters here in Week 18, when a game that doesn't matter, to be quite honest with you. And then on top of which, we are going to look at Matt Nagy replacements. We're going to talk about the Jamar Chase and L'Jarius Sneed drama. If you have kind of had a blind eye to that, we're going to kind of open the light and tell you exactly what went on and why Chris Jones was a little upset after the game as well. So we'll tell you everything that has kind of gone down with that. And then, like I mentioned, that mailbag as well. We're going to talk all about your questions and basically what you would like to hear from us. As listen, we're in the final week here of the regular season. This is Week 18. This is where people end their season. And quite honestly, luckily the Chiefs are not because we made the playoffs and kind of expected to. But this is where teams start getting eliminated. It's the last week of everybody playing, so it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. And well, let's say that Chiefs are going to have to do the exact same thing because. Been a struggling year, but records reset in the playoffs. You just win each week. You just got to win each week. We're going to talk about all that here in a moment, though, as we're going to get set here for this live show. Hit that like button. We're getting close to 50 likes. We have almost 80 viewers here on the Chiefs Report, so appreciate if you hit that like. But without further ado, I think we're ready to go here. And without text was, we're ready to go. All right, let's do it. We're going to give you the latest Chiefs rumors, talking about if the Chiefs will play their starters in Week 18, plus little drama going down with L'Jarius Sneed and Jamar Chase. Chiefs Kingdom, what's going on? Today's topic is an easy one. Will the Chiefs play their starters in Week 18 in a game that really doesn't matter? You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace, and I appreciate you joining us. And that's the question everybody's kind of starting to be asking because, well, Andy Reid mentioned a little bit about what he expected, but now it's very certain the Chiefs are locked into the number 3 seed. If we take a look at the AFC playoff picture, they can't go anywhere. If they win, it doesn't matter because guess what? The Dolphins are playing the Bills. And the Bills beat the Chiefs, so therefore they would jump the Chiefs to the 2 spot. If the Dolphins win, then they're a game ahead of the Chiefs. They can't go up to 2. And then the Jaguars, you beat the Jaguars, and if you lose, the other team's going to have to win. I mean, you can't move back to 4. You are locked in at 3. Now, there's still obviously questions as who you're going to play. The Bills are probably the likely one, but there's also a chance to play the Dolphins, as that's also a very likely one. One thing's to happen. If the Dolphins lose, you're playing the Dolphins. Pretty simple right there. Play the Colts. You can play the Houston Texans, or you can play Pittsburgh. There's a couple of different options here. But either way you slice or dice it, the Chiefs are locked in at the number 3 seed. And so with that being said, there's not really a reason to play the starters because if you win, you're number 3. If you lose, you're number 3. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't affect your draft stock. And it's all about, at this point, playoff seeding and what goes on with that. And the question was immediately asked because it was right after the game that they knew this, given that all the AFC results were in before Sunday night's game. Well, Andy Reid was able to answer the questions post-game after the Bengals, and he was asked, hey, do you want to play the starters? He said, I haven't gotten there yet. Now, I think that that's going to progress over the week, and over time we're going to know more. But I thought it was interesting because he obviously doesn't think that he's made a decision, which is a fair thing to say. You're not just going to tell your opponent, we're going to freaking not play our starters. That would make no sense. But Patrick Mahomes was also asked the question, and I think his response may be a little more interesting. So here's what he said. Now, this comes after he was asked about playing Week 18. He said, I didn't know that, but I kind of just let Coach Reid make all those decisions. If he wants us to build off this momentum, I'll be ready to roll. If he wants to give us some rest, I'll get that rest, prepare whoever we're going to play, and get ready for the playoffs. Now, this makes sense about the whole thing of keeping the momentum going because Mahomes played well. In fact, this offense had probably one of their better games just with fluidity and overall confidence. I think it was much more of a game that looked like this is the Chiefs offense that they should have been running the entire time. They cut down the playbook. The balls were going to Rashee Rice, but Isiah Pacheco, trying to get it to Kelsey as much as possible, but also using him as a decoy. I kind of liked just the way the offensive flow was going on the field. And overall, it seemed as though Mahomes liked it as well because his stats were, I'm going to say, pretty dang good. 21 for 29, 245 in the air is not nothing crazy, but still it's sufficeable, and 1 touchdown. But the thing that I look at here is 109.1 on the QB rating. I mean, that passer rating hasn't been over 100 since the Raiders game back before Christmas. I mean, heck, before Thanksgiving even. I mean, that was back to week 12 when his rating was over 100. And now he finally got one as they cut the playbook down, and it looked a lot better. Also, I said these stats were great, and I know that the yards don't pop off the sheet, but that's because Isiah Pacheco had 130 on the ground. Dude had an absolute baller of a game. 18 carries, 130 yards, and they also had 7 receptions for 35 yards. Pop played absolutely amazing, and this was all coming off a questioning if he was going to play. He had that concussion that he had to go through the concussion protocol the week prior and was kind of labeled as a questionable pretty much throughout the week, but luckily was able to play in the last little bits. And he played amazing. I think it's interesting, though, because Pacheco, Kelsey, and Rashee Rice are all around the 1,000-yard area. And so I wonder if maybe Andy Reid plays the starters, trying to get those guys to 1,000 for the season, and then immediately pulls out each one as they get there. And that's just kind of the game plan, especially with the Chargers. If you get out early, I mean, you're obviously trying to win just because that's the nature of the game. And ultimately, if you can do it, it gives you a little more confidence going into the playoffs. You don't really want to go on a loss. Now, at the same time, if you're playing your backups, doesn't matter. Would you play the starters in Week 18, though? Because I think there's a lot of pluses. There's a lot of minuses. You don't want to see injuries, but I'd hate to have this positive offensive momentum just go to waste. So let me know what you would do here in Week 18. If you're playing the starters, type Y for yes. If you're not playing the starters, then type N for no. Give me an explanation down in the description below because I'm kind of curious to see, is there like a reason that you want them to play? Is there a reason you don't want to play? Let me know in the comments of today's video. Type Y for yes if you would play starters. Type N for no if you would not. Let's kind of talk about this L'Jarius Sneed drama because L'Jarius Sneed and Jamar Chase were obviously not friends on the field. And, well, let's just say that Sneed locked down Chase. And Chase, who had some previous words for him in the week, was not exactly happy with that. Now, before we get to all the details of that, got to tell you about our awesome sponsor for today's video, and that is Factor Meals. And the best part about it, you can go to factormeals.com/ChiefsChat and use that code ChiefsChat to get 50% off your order. And I'm telling you, you want to get started on your New Year's resolutions with Factor so that you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal prepping and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, the prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious, flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Factor now offers loads of snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, snacks, and more to keep you going no matter what's on the schedule. Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. When things get hectic, Factor is flexible. Change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. Once again, head to factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50. Use that code ChiefsChat50 to get 50% off. That's code ChiefsChat50 at factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50 to get 50% off. I'm telling you, you're going to want to take advantage of that. We're going to put that in the comments and in the description of this video. Go check it out down below to get that 50% off. Let's talk about it. Okay, so the fighting words that were spoken before the game. Now, obviously, there was some drama with Sneed and Chase during the game, but that all stemmed from comments Chase made in the week prior saying that nothing on the Chiefs' defense impressed him, which, considering L'Jarius Sneed has locked down the likes of A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, I mean, he has really just been the menace to everybody he has faced, and he hasn't really allowed a touchdown on him all year. And, well, let's just say that there was some altercations on the field, and after the game, they asked L'Jarius Sneed, what exactly happened? And L'Jarius said, quote, "We had some words, but check the stats," which may be one of the hardest quotes said all year by L'Jarius Sneed because he's been a quiet guy. He knows that he's good, and he's just kind of been that humble presence. But Jamar said, no, I don't really think he's any that impressive. Hey, Jamar, how does 3 receptions for 41 yards sound when you got targeted 7 times? I think that it was just dumb of Jamar to say anything to a guy that had just been absolutely locked down pretty much that entire season, and he locked down him. I mean, especially the fact, like, you didn't have Burrow. Now, I understand Jamar had a really good game against the Chiefs the previous game, not this past Sunday, but the previous time. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen this time, especially the way L'Jarius Sneed has been playing. It makes no sense. But the funny part is, he doubled down. He didn't stop at those comments pregame. He didn't stop with the fighting on the field. He, after the game, was asked about it. He said, MFer won't fight me. Just trash talking, can't handle it. Which, in theory, is like, what are you talking about? But at the same time, he said that with T. Higgins to the lock to the left of him, and T. Higgins just started laughing. Future wide receiver for the Chiefs, T. Higgins, I'm telling you, it's just kind of wild because even his teammates were just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we're eliminated from the playoffs. It doesn't matter. Like, just stop. It makes no sense. Let's be quite honest. Chase got owned. Like, this is your father, Jamar Chase. This is your father. L'Jarius Sneed is now your daddy. Go freaking give him a hug and make sure you get him a Father's Day card. That's just like just stop the crap talk. Yeah, I understand you had a good game before, but that doesn't mean you're going to have a good game this year. And L'Jarius Sneed owned you, and just own up to it. Man, it was flat out ridiculous. I mean, I know that you want to be this confident guy, and I get that, but it just makes no sense. Make sure you're getting him a Father's Day card this year because he is your father. And if you think L'Jarius Sneed owned Jamar Chase and he is now his father, well, then type L'Jarius Sneed, type LS for his little initials because it's just freaking stupid, man. I'm tired of all this trash. Like, I understand the NFL is a trash talking thing, but the fact that he just straight up doubled down is just kind of hilarious to me. Dude got freaking snapped. Just could not do anything the entire game. And still was like, oh, he won't fight me. Yeah, because we actually are going to the playoffs. I'm not trying to get a suspension. Freaking, oh, well. But here's the thing. Sneed's been doing this all year. I've talked about the guys he's locked down, and Jamar Chase is just another guy. I mean, he's pretty much, have you seen that meme, the Grim Reaper going to each door? Jamar Chase was just the next door. That's all it was. In fact, Sneed in coverage this year has locked down, like I said, A.J. Brown. He covered them, 1 catch, 8 yards. DJ Moore, 3 catches, 41 yards. Sound familiar? That was the exact line that Jamar Chase had. Tyreek Hill, 8 for 62. Leading receiver in the NFL, under 70 yards on 8 catches. Pretty good. Stefon Diggs, who hasn't been good this year, but still, 4 catches, 24 yards. And then Justin Jefferson, 3 catches for 28 yards. This is exactly why you need to sign him back. I mean, I think we have to switch to this topic a little bit just because I know we talked, if you saw yesterday's video, about how Chris Jones is a pretty big offseason piece, but I think L'Jarius Sneed maybe almost as big, to be quite honest, with the year he's had and the lockdown performances he's had on pretty much every single receiver. I'd like to see him back with the Chiefs and at Arrowhead Stadium on Sundays because, man, I just couldn't imagine going into next season. I love Trent McDuffie, and we talked about him a lot in the regular season, we're in the regular season, in the preseason and the first couple weeks, but L'Jarius Sneed has been the better quarterback. Trent McDuffie's been amazing on top of it, but if you can keep those two together, Trent McDuffie's still in that rookie deal, you got 2 more years left on that, you sign L'Jarius to a 2-year deal for, say, I don't know, $20 million, $25 million? I like that a lot. Make sure you subscribe for Chiefs news and rumors all year long. We're going to keep you up to date on free agency, all season, all that goes along with that. Plus, as we head into the playoffs, tell you about playoff seeding, tell you about who the Chiefs are going to face, previews for each game, along with what exactly is going to happen with this offense once they get it figured out, if they get it figured out, and how the Chiefs can be able to go back and win the Super Bowl. But for now, that's all we got for you, Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate you making it through this video. And as always, I know it takes some time every day, so I personally would like to thank you for just spending your time with us. And as always, Chiefs Kingdom, peace out. All right, would you like to play the starters in Week 18? I'm going to ask this question again. By the way, we got over 100 people in here. Pretty good. Most Tuesdays, we're over 100. We're doing a good job. So I'd appreciate it if everybody could hit that like button if you're here. Takes 2 seconds. I'm trying to get to 100 likes today. I think we can do it. We haven't. Our most liked Tuesday live stream has been, I believe, 80. So if we can jump 80 today, that would be significant. So 100 people plus in here. Appreciate if you can hit that like button. Takes 2 seconds, and that's it. Lacknew, is there any wide receivers in the draft you really like? I like Adonai Mitchell. That's probably my favorite one in terms of where the Chiefs could draft. I like Rome Odunze. He's probably, part of me thinks he's the number 1 over Marvin Harrison. I know that's kind of crazy, but Rome looked insane. He should have. I mean, here's my thing. Marvin was the MVP on Ohio State because that team stinks without him. They are bad. Like, Kyle McCord's terrible. Ryan Day is, I don't know what was going on there. Like, he made Kyle McCord look good. That's just all I'm going to say. So, Marvin Harrison is very much, like, really good, but I think Rome Odunze may be better. So, play the starters, says Darnell Hubbard. What is the starters? It'd be Pacheco, Mahomes, Kelsey, Rashee Rice, technically MVS. I think he's still going to play. Linemen, you got Creed Humphrey, Wanya Morris. I would assume you probably put a little bit less on your linemen. You may keep them in. L'Jarius Sneed, you don't want to get him to get hurt. Mike Edwards, safety. You already have Brian Cook out, so you don't do that. Xavier Leggett, I like him as well. He's pretty good. The only thing about Xavier is, given he's at South Carolina, I know he's faced some good defenses, but Adonai's just had success through multiple colleges, and he's had success at big levels. Every single playoff game he's played in, we saw it last night. He had a touchdown. Dude's been catching touchdowns in playoff games since 2021. It's 2024 now. Like, that's the reason I like him. I think he's just proven himself on a very similar. But I do like Xavier. I think he could be good. I'm just worried because I know he's faced some good defense with South Carolina, but sometimes I just don't always trust that. I do like him, though. He's got a lot of good, like, I guess intricacies would be the right word. I don't say it, like, ins and outs. Knows what he's doing on the football field, has good football IQ, can get up and down the field. I will say, Lacknew, if you want to get that question on the mailbag, that's a pretty good question. Use hashtag Chiefs just like you see Parker Gamer there. If you do that, hashtag Chiefs, and we can be able to put that question on the show here later. So if you want to try and do that, we can answer it again, have that on the show coming up in just a little bit. But, yeah, it's kind of weird. Why free SN for now? What are we thinking about playing the starters? Chase Claypool, DJ, you don't want him. I promise you. Promise you, you do not want him. He has is not been good. So we will see. Also, I see the question in there about Brian Cook's 21-day window. I'm pretty sure it opens up after this week because his injury was December 4th. And it was 4 weeks. When was that? 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, technically it could be this week, but the Chiefs have the option to. So, given we haven't heard about Brian Cook, he's not going to play this week. I can tell you that because there's just no reason. There's no reason to bring him back from injury for this game. But he technically could open up his practice window this week. If I had to guess, though, he may be done for the season. Like, I don't really know. It was a nasty ankle injury. I know all the X-rays and MRIs and all that stuff came back negative, but like, I don't want to see him get injured again. I hope he's back for the playoffs, but technically it could open now. But it's up to the Chiefs to open that window. It's not exactly like they could do it whenever, technically now, because it's been 4 weeks. So he's been on IR that long. We'll see, though, what exactly happens with kind of all that and what goes down. But We're going to get into our second segment here, talking about some Matt Nagy replacements. A little Matt Nagy action here because he stinks, but that's all right. We got a lot of good options, so we're going to talk about that here. I know a lot of you have been talking about Matt Nagy, but we're going to talk all about kind of options going forward and what exactly the Chiefs could do with their options. I mean, fire him, don't fire him, hire somebody else. We're going to talk about it all right here, but without further ado, I think we're all ready, so let's get into some Matt Nagy replacements. It's no secret the Chiefs' offense has been less than ideal this year, and that can only fall to one person at this point, right? Matt Nagy. Well, we're going to talk about some potential Matt Nagy replacements right here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, as per usual. Well, we're going to talk about pretty much everything from the ins and outs of this offense on what has been wrong and why it could potentially be Matt Nagy, because at this point, I don't really know who else to blame. So let's first look at kind of just the comparison of the 2 seasons that the Chiefs have had over the past 2 years. You had Eric Bieniemy last season up until the Super Bowl before Matt Nagy took over, and then Matt Nagy all this year. Points per game, down a lot. Passing yards per game, down by over 40. Rushing yards per game, a little similar, but the fact that you have Isiah Pacheco both years, he was a rookie last year, and I would argue last year was harder because it was a rookie, and then you had Clyde and Jarek, and Clyde and Jarek haven't exactly been the greatest, and you still have 115 last year, and you only have 103.8 this year. Not what I want. Obviously, the yards per game, if you combine those, is going to be more. And maybe the biggest one of all, the wins at this point in time last year, 13. The wins this year, 10, which 10 is not bad. I don't want to say that's bad. But you have to look at that when thinking about how this offense has played, especially when the defense has been locked down to pretty much every single team they faced. I want to start with this by saying Matt Nagy, in my opinion, was never the guy. He hasn't had success in pretty much anywhere he's gone to. He didn't work with the Bears. He came to the Chiefs as kind of just this basically analyst, coordinator, passing coordinator, kind of working with the offense. And when Bieniemy went to Washington, it was Nagy who took over based on Andy Reid's wanting this, which I understand. I think that was a good choice. It worked out in the Super Bowl, but I just never thought that he was the offensive coordinator that this team needed. He's never been that guy to go and make an organization better. And with this organization, it wasn't to make him better. It was literally just keep him the same, and he couldn't even do that. I do have to look at Patrick Mahomes because over 16 games before this past Sunday, he hadn't done really too much. I mean, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 4,000 yards, 67.2. I mean, I say he didn't do too much. Patrick's numbers are always just insane when I look at them, but the fact that he's had season lows in completion percentage, he's had season lows in third down percentage, he's had season lows in touchdowns. I mean, pretty much he's just in a down year. And obviously the wide receivers aren't great, and there's other factors that aren't just Matt Nagy, but ultimately this offensive scheme blows. It's never looked fluid. It's never looked like the Chiefs have been really wanting to do what that's been called. I mean, there's been times where there's been trouble getting the play call in. I think, again, that's why this past weekend against the Bengals was so crucial, because they cut down that playbook. They said, we're done running these 15,000 plays we have. We're going to cut it down to basically in half and just run these plays that have worked and see what happens. And little do you know, you have some of your best plays all year. You have Pacheco running all over the field. You have Rashee Rice with his longest catch of his career. It just worked out. Now, obviously with the title, who could replace Nagy, though, if fired? Because at this point in time, you're probably thinking, okay, well, if Nagy goes, what are the options? Like, I don't want to just fire Nagy, and then, he got us to 10 wins, he's got us to the playoffs, and we just have nobody. That's exactly why you fire him, because there are plenty of options. We're going to talk about all of them right here, with the first one being the guy I just mentioned, Eric Bieniemy. He's the Washington offensive coordinator, and this one is on the first one just because he's familiar with the team. And there's a chance that when Ron Rivera gets fired this upcoming Monday, because it's very obvious that's going to happen, that the Commanders may just clean house. They may just say, we're going to fire the offensive coordinator, we're going to fire the defensive coordinator, we're going to fire Ron Rivera, we're going to fire everybody. Now, that may not be the case, and so that's why it's one of those things of, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. But Bieniemy would be the guy if fired. I think that is very clear. And he's done exactly what he did with Washington as he did with the Chiefs. He's just made them better. If you look at the 2022 numbers on the right compared to the 2023 numbers on the left, you can tell it's just been better. Points per game are up, yards per play are up, Third down percentage is up. Red zone percentage, that's a huge one. Up almost 15% in terms of getting a touchdown in the red zone. And I'm going to say it, Sam Howell has not been a good quarterback. And there was a good 4-week span where Eric Bieniemy and that offense tricked us into thinking Sam Howell was the starter for Washington going forward. And the past 5 weeks, we've realized that he is not. He is exactly what he was, a fifth-round pick, which good backup. I think he'll be good in the league for a long time as a backup, but he's never going to be that starting quarterback, or at least he won't with Washington. And he made him look like that guy for 4 to 5 weeks earlier in the season. I mean, to be quite honest, he just made a Washington offense look good, just in general. I mean, this offense has been a struggling boat for a long time. I mean, back to Alex Smith days when he went over there when he got injured. Back when they had Robert Griffin III and that offense was piping. I mean, there wasn't really much in between there. They've gone from quarterback to the different guys. I mean, there's been Taylor Heineke. There's been Carson Wentz. There's just been a lot of moving pieces that the offense has never looked great. And guess what? Eric Bieniemy, he made him look great. And I think the bigger thing that maybe out-trumps anything about his stats, his notices, the reason we should hire him is the feel around the locker room of Eric Bieniemy. And I think that's why it stinks that he's not here. Patrick Mahomes said this earlier in the season, actually defending Eric Bieniemy after it was talking about him being too harsh on his Washington Commanders players. And Patrick said, EB is going to be harsh on you. He's going to really try to get the best out of you every single day. He's going to hold you accountable whenever you don't even want to hold yourself accountable. And it made me a better player. Eric Bieniemy made Patrick Mahomes a better player. If he's available, you take him. If you would like Eric Bieniemy to be back with the Kansas City Chiefs in this upcoming offseason, if he is fired, then I want you to type EB in the comment section because I think it'd be interesting to see what he could potentially do. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like Eric Bieniemy back, then type EB. Second guy I want to look at here, Ken Dorsey, the former Bills offensive coordinator, and this one strikes me as probably the most likely if Nagy were to be fired right after the season. And I think the reason for that is, well, he was let go by the Bills in Week 10, and to me, he was the scapegoat for a Bills rough start. It was simply that. The offense was not the problem. In fact, the offense was probably the opposite of that. It was the reason the team was going well. Now, they kind of had a harsh reaction after that bad loss to the Broncos, but at the same time, stats don't lie. And Mina Kim's had this first, so I'm going to give her credit, but when they fired him after Week 10, this was their stats through Week 10. First in success rate, third in EPA play, fourth in QBR, thirds in yards of play, second in third down conversion, and third in red zone efficiency. You're telling me you're gonna fire that? It makes no sense. He was not the problem. He was the scapegoat. And if you hire him with the Chiefs, there is a little bit of a Bills-Chiefs rivalry going on. I think that would be nice because it would kind of stick it to the man in a way of, listen, this guy was not the problem you were having. To be quite honest with you, the Bills run through and out of Josh Allen. If he plays well, they're going to win. If he plays bad, they're going to lose. And ultimately, that's just what it was. And they blamed Ken Dorsey for the slow start on some tough losses. It's kind of dumb, but at the same time, I would like it if the Chiefs got him. I think that would be, first of all, kind of a smack in the face to the Bills because I think Ken Dorsey would kill it with Mahomes and Rashee Rice and, of course, hopefully T. Higgins next year, maybe even a draft pick, Adonai Mitchell. There's a lot of guys we can talk about and we'll continue to talk about here as we get closer to the draft and knowing what exactly pick the Chiefs do have. But before we get into the second part of the show with a couple other of the Matt Nagy replacements, go check out Prize Picks at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and they're the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Once again, prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. And I'll tell you what, testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and it's added so much excitement to my sports viewing experience. It's so much fun. Plus, on top of it, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types will make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. There's my entry for this Sunday's game, as I've got two playoff-looking teams, Baker on the Bucks and Jonathan Taylor with the Colts. Need a win to get in the playoffs, so I'm going to go more on Baker's passing yards and more on Jonathan Taylor rushing yards. They're going to need to have big games to push their teams into the postseason, and I like both those. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match of $100. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Once again, go check it out. We're going to put that link in the comment section and description of this video. So there you go. Go check it out right now. All right, the third one may be a bit of surprise to some of you, but Zac Robinson. He's the QB coach for the Los Angeles Rams, and he's regarded as one of the top young offensive minds in the NFL right now, working behind Sean McVay, who was once the top offensive mind in the National Football League, and has obviously shown why that way. Now, I want to go to some kind of knowledge around the fan base, and this is where I think we got to dive into what the basically notion is about him around the league. As for Robinson's reputation around the NFL, it's glowing. McVay gave him some play calling opportunities in the preseason, and Robinson fared well, so he has experience. Now he's viewed as one of the fastest rising coaches in football and a top offensive coordinator candidate in 2024. A splash of McVay's offensive ideology and that experience of learning how to make year-to-year adjustments schematically makes Robinson a high upside for the Chiefs offense. I think this would be an amazing hire. I love Zac. If you're not going to hire a guy who's already been an offensive coordinator, then you go with Zac Robinson. If you don't want to pay the Ken Dorsey money, if you don't want to pay the Eric Bieniemy money, if you don't want to hire from within, then I like Zac. I think he's the best option outside of that. There's a lot of good things. He's played collegiate football back with Oklahoma State. He understands the game really well. And Sean McVay, like I said, is a great offensive mind, and he hired Robinson. So if McVay, who was a top offensive mind, likes Robinson, and the league likes Robinson, it makes sense. I would love to see him with the Kansas City Chiefs as their new offensive coordinator if they do let Matt Nagy go. And honestly, I would love that. And given McVay may retire after this year, it opened it wide up for Zac to come over to the Chiefs and serve a nice role. Let me know out of the top three candidates here, who would be your choice? As we got one more candidate, but these are obviously the top three in terms of what I think would happen if Matt Nagy would be fired, who the Chiefs would go after. And that'd be #1, Eric Bieniemy, if he's fired. If you think it's going to be him, if you like him the most, then type B. If you like Ken Dorsey, the former Bills offensive coordinator, who was fired for no reason and is open right now to come, well, then type D for Ken Dorsey. And if you like the Zac Robinson hire, if you're kind of with me, you want a new guy in here, you want a new system, you want a top offensive young mind, I mean, he's pretty young, not even 40 yet. And you could hire him as your offensive coordinator. That'd be pretty nice. And not that I want to, but thinking long term, Robinson could end up being maybe the successor to Andy Reid in 5, 6, 7 years, depending on what Andy Reid decides to do. Let me know. Then type R if you like Zac Robinson. B for Bieniemy, D for Dorsey, R for Robinson. Get in the comment section. Let me know who would be your pick for the Chiefs' next offensive coordinator if Matt Nagy were to go. The one last guy. What about a hire from within? You may have caught me saying if you're not going to hire from within. That's because this last guy is exactly that. He's one who has been in the Chiefs organization, and it's probably the next step up. In fact, he really is the obvious choice if you're hiring from within. And that would be Eric Bleymaier, as he is the Kansas City passing game coordinator. And overall, the Chiefs have really enjoyed having him. And I think we have to go back to another article that also talked about Bleymaier maybe being the next choice for the Kansas City Chiefs and that his potential to possibly be the next offensive coordinator if Nagy were to be out. So let me read this here from Sportskeeda saying, Joe Bleymaier has been with the Chiefs since 2016. He's currently the pass game coordinator for them, having worked in different positions across the offense during his tenure. He knows the system and the quarterback, and Andy Reid could possibly decide that he deserves a chance to be promoted. There's one problem I have with that. The passing game this year hasn't exactly been great. And I think blame does have to fall on Bleymaier just a bit. But it also can't be all on him because the scheme is just not good. Now, obviously, you can't scheme a good passing game when your base offense is not good. That's where I think you have to take a step back and think, okay, I understand the offense as a whole isn't exactly the greatest. But are we willing to say that the passing game could be if we let him take the shot, if we let him? And given all the Chiefs' struggles this year, I guarantee you Bleymaier would know exactly how to fix them all. He's been right there with all the receivers. He's been right there with the frustration. He's probably been one of the most frustrated guys on this team in the shadows. So it'd be kind of interesting. Is there an offensive coordinator, though, that I missed? I mentioned you the top 4 on my board, and the top 3 specifically I think would be the best. But is there someone else that maybe I missed that you would like to have? Maybe is it Frank Reich? I know maybe he talked about being done with the NFL, but do you throw some money at him, see what he would do? Let me know in the comment section, is there an offensive coordinator that I missed? If so, get that name in the comments section. We appreciate you watching. As always, I know this was a little bit of a longer video, so if you made it to the end, well, do me a favor, type real one because I know you're a real one. So we appreciate all you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and peace out. Chiefs. Who do we think picked the OC? Bieniemy, Dorsey, Robinson. See a lot of D's, see a lot of B's. Random gamer spamming the R's for Robinson. I like it. I like it. Jack Del Rio from DJ. All right. Miles, I 100% agree. I do not want Keon Coleman. I do not want Keon Coleman. But I will say to Mouse, I like the question, though. Use hashtag Chiefs. I don't like Keon Coleman, but I'm happy to answer it in the mailbag and tell you why. Because don't worry. I'm not just coming in here saying, this is this. And not having reason to back it up. Tony Fuentes saying Bieniemy, random gamer saying Robinson, Blake saying Robinson. I like it. No Dorseys. I've only seen one D, which is fair. I think I probably sold Robinson a little bit, just because he's probably my favorite out of the 3. And to me, I think it's one of those things of just like, I don't think Bieniemy is going to be fired. And if he is fired, I feel like he may be in line for a job of, head coaching. So, Blake, we need to draft Rome Odunze. I would love to draft Rome Odunze. The problem is, given after that game, he probably is a top 7 pick. So, given that, I don't think he'll get down to the Chiefs are drafting. 3 likes away from 70, by the way. We're over 100 viewers on here. So appreciate it if you hit that like button. I'd certainly love it. And, hey, we're trying to reach the best likes on a Tuesday live stream. Be pretty awesome. We're trying to get over 80. We need 13 more to be over 80 and have the most likes on a Tuesday live stream. That'd be nice on week 18 to get the most likes on a live stream. Be pretty nice. Dice saying Bieniemy. Random gamer still living Robinson. I like it. Quinn Ewers, Mahomes' successor. You cannot draft Quinn Ewers right now. That would literally make Mahomes so furious. Here's what you do. You go get Zach Wilson and make him the backup. He's free. He's cheap. He's going to be cut or traded. You go get Zach Wilson. And then you let him be a masterclass with Andy Reid, and you can use him in different packages. And he's not the everyday starter. 100%. Go ahead. Last chance here. I'm with Jace. I like it, random gamer. I think Robinson's probably my favorite. I am a little biased. I am an Oklahoma State graduate, so I want my Oklahoma State guy back. But I also think, given just the way that he is perceived around the league, Miles, Zach Wilson is not the future of the Chiefs. He's just a better backup than Blaine Gabbert. And I think is going to be somewhere. So may as well be with the Chiefs. Johnny Wilson will be crazy with Mahomes. Where's Johnny on the big board? Let me go look this up. I wonder what he is. Johnny Wilson, NFL draft big board. Let's see what Johnny Wilson's at. He is not in the top 10. Oh, he's number 7. Number 7. Marvin Harrison's 1. Malik Neighbors is 2. Rome Odunze's 3. There's Xavier. Emike Egbuka, Adonai Mitchell, Johnny Wilson, Xavier Worthy, Troy Franklin, and Keon Coleman. Johnny or Adonai might be the best pick actually out of this. I don't want Ime Egbuka. I just don't trust that enough. I don't think his intangibles are all that compared to Adonai and Johnny. But I could see Johnny. Him and Patrick will be saucy. Him and Patrick will be saucy together. Plus, on top of which, you have Rashee Rice too, so like you combine them, be nice. 6'7" wide receiver. Damn. Yeah. 3rd round, Johnny Wilson, a steal. I think at best 2nd round. I don't know if he'll fall to the 3rd, but football player, flush MVS's contract in front of him. Here, just throw the contract at him. He won't catch it, so it won't matter. Issa Mori drafted on Mitchell. That's literally, we've talked about that a lot. That's the guy I want. And it's either him or Jatavion Sanders. If you're at pick number 27, I hope you're pick 32, to be quite honest. You won the Super Bowl. But if you did, if Adonai's there, you're taking him. If he's not and Jatavion's there, you're taking him. If not, we'll see what they do. From there, I'm a little less biased. So they could just throw it to Johnny and he doesn't have to jump. Yeah, dude would literally just go, got it. Don't worry. Anyway, but we're going to have a mailbag here, so get your last questions in. Text can kind of start getting those ready. We got a lot? Sweet. All right, well, no, factor. But we will get going here. If you want to keep rolling the questions, we'll kind of keep going throughout the show. But I got enough questions. Got a lot of good questions today, so we're going to get this going. But without further ado, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the week, getting to talk Chiefs with y'all as we get into our mailbag. Chiefs Kingdom, we appreciate you joining us here, and we're happy you took some time out of your day to come spend it with us and talk some Kansas City Chiefs here on the Chiefs Report. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and we're going to talk about a lot of news, a lot of rumors, and pretty much everything surrounding the Kansas City Chiefs as we head into Week 18 with some questions and kind of a lot of things as we head into last week with maybe some offseason in there, maybe some questions about the starters playing this week, lots of things to kind of discuss. But without further ado, let's get into it here with the first question coming from Parker Gamer saying #Chiefs. When will Brian Cook's 21-day window open? So technically, Parker, he's been on IR for 4 weeks now. He could get it opened up this week, but it's up to the Chiefs. Once you're placed on IR, you have to be on there for 4 weeks, and then you can continue to be on there for as long as you want. And so I think they may keep him out there at least for this week. There's no reason to play him this week, so there's no point to put him in a practice window unless you're, I guess, want to get him an extra week of practice before you play in that wild card matchup against whoever it may be in 2 weeks down the line. But technically, it could open up this week. We'll keep you updated. I doubt it will, though. Pretty nasty injury. Tony Fuentes coming in saying, is there still a way for Eric Bieniemy to return? Yes, Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator over at Washington currently, he definitely could return, but it would take him being fired by the Washington Commanders, which I think in one sense is a possibility because if you fire Ron Rivera, they may clean house. I mean, quite honestly, they may just say, we're done, we're going to clean house, we're going to not worry about all this, and there you go. At the same time, it might be one of those situations where they just fire Ron Rivera and ask Bieniemy to take over as the head coach. I know he's widely regarded as a potential head coach candidate this upcoming season, so I think over the past couple weeks, it's been less likely for him to return just because the notion of him becoming a head coach has grown and grown and grown. The next question here, Big Red Machine saying, what is the perfect offseason plan for Brett Veach and the Chiefs? So we're going to have a full video on this probably after the season once everything's settled down. Hopefully it's with a Super Bowl trophy in hand, but if not, we're still going to talk about it. As of right now, I would say perfect offseason plan, if you want to go fully wide receiver heavy, I think it's letting Chris Jones walk. You sign T. Higgins, you cut MVS, and then you draft a wide receiver or tight end with your first-round pick and sign a defensive tackle to replace Chris Jones for less money. There's a couple of guys that I've liked. We'll do probably a more fluid video on this, talking about who exactly I would like, what I think the best plan of action would be. Maybe firing Matt Nagy could be a part of that, but we'll talk about all that here later. But I like the question because I think number one priority is signing T. Higgins. That would be my ideal scenario is if you can get T. Higgins, everything else should just fall into place. That guy is an absolute stud, and I think he should be a Kansas City Chief. You didn't get D-Hop last year, and we've seen what it's led to. Please do not put that stress on us next year. Even if the Chiefs somehow pull it out and go to Super Bowl and win it, which is still possible, I would still like to make sure we do not have to go through this entire year again where we're just questioning our sanity every time a ball is thrown in the air. Name a free agent you would like the Chiefs to sign this offseason. I know there's a lot of names floating around, especially with the wide receiver group. You have T. Higgins, you got Marquise Brown, you got Curtis Samuel, but is there someone on the defensive side you want to sign? Is there someone with maybe a tight end you want to sign, maybe a backup quarterback you'd want to sign? Let me know in the comment section what a player you would be keeping your eye on for Brett Veach to sign here in the upcoming 2024 offseason. DJ comes in with our next question saying, who would you rather have? T. Higgins, Mike Evans, or Jamar Chase? I love this question because, and this may be where my bias shows a little bit, I think it's T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Mike Evans in that order, and it's T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Mike Evans. I love Mike Evans. I think he's great. He fits the wide receiver scheme. The wide receiver scheme. The wide receivers are a scam this year, to be quite honest. But the wide receiver schemes, I think Mike Evans fits it. But I just don't know if I want to get a 30-year-old when you're trying to build for the future. You already have a young receiver in Rashee Rice. MVS isn't exactly the greatest sign. So I'd like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase above them. I think all three would be great. The most likely of those three, though, I think is T. Higgins. You could also sign Mike Evans, but for some reason, there was a lot of talk at the trade deadline that Mike Evans was going to go to the Chiefs, and I was fully in line with that. I thought he was going to do it, but then the Buccaneers started winning, and so that didn't happen. But with T. Higgins, you're just signing him this offseason, and I think an offseason talk, T. Higgins would sign. I don't think Mike Evans might sign with the Kansas City Chiefs, but I like the question. I think T. Higgins would probably be my choice. Maybe a little biased there. Blake with the question saying, #Chiefs, should the Chiefs trade/sign linebacker Josh Allen? I think it could be the perfect left outside linebacker. I like it. The only worry I have with this is there's a lot of money you're spending. And on one hand, I like Josh Allen. I think he's an absolute threat. But the money he would take would just be too much. It wouldn't work with your system. It'd basically be signing a Chris Jones at linebacker, in my opinion. It's just that type of contract. And the cap space, unfortunately, just isn't there to go out and sign these star players. And that's good news. That's good news because that means you already have your star players. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have Travis Kelce. I'm going to say it. You have Rashee Rice. You have L'Jarius Sneed. You have Trent McDuffie. Those guys are star players. Keep them. Make sure you keep them. Then you can worry about the rest and build kind of building blocks around it. You don't necessarily need a star player anywhere. I think L'Jarius Sneed has been the best guy on defense. George Karlaftis has been amazing on defense this year. You don't really need a star. You don't really need a star. If you want the Chiefs to head back to the Super Bowl, as I've mentioned in the show, then do me a favor, like the video. Pretty proven that we've done it really a lot of season where if you like the video, the Chiefs will win. It's been pretty fluid. If you like the video, maybe the Chiefs will get back to the Super Bowl. So do me a favor, if you want them to head back to the Super Bowl and try and get that back-to-back championship, well, that'd be super nice. Hit the like, and I'd certainly appreciate it. Also helps support us. But before we get into more of the show, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor, Factor Meals. And I'm telling you, if you go to factor.com/ChiefsChat50, you're going to get 50% off. Once again, head to factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50 and use that code ChiefsChat50 to get 50% off. Get started on your New Year's resolution with Factor so that you are ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal prepping, planning, and allows you to set up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, the prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door with over 35 meals to cook or meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, and you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. If you need a special occasion meal, well, Gourmet Plus is a perfect solution if you're looking for fast, upscale options done easily. Factor has everything I need for a week of flavorful, nutritious eats. In addition to ready-to-eat meals, they have cold, fresh juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein, veggie sides, and more to keep me energized during the frantic times here in the new year. Once again, you can get that 50% off by heading to factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50 and using that code ChiefsChat50. Once again, that's code ChiefsChat50 at factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50 to get 50% off. Head to Factor Meals. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. We're going to put that link in the comments and in the description of today's video. Miles saying #Chiefs Chris Jones replacements. Honestly, I like this question because I think overall it looks like there's a lot of pretty good options, but I don't honestly know if you need I'm going to put this the right way. I don't want to sound naive and say that you don't need somebody to replace Chris Jones because you do. But at the same time, I think that overall you could have a little bit better of options because you don't need somebody exactly like Chris Jones. I think the one guy that maybe stands out to me is a little bit lesser of an option, but it's a guy like maybe Grover Stewart. He's a guy out of Indianapolis, a free agent, and his market value is around the $10 million a year range, which compared to Chris Jones at $30 million a year, it's pretty good. So I think that could also be an option. There's a couple other guys I think we could maybe go with. One that I've honestly liked, and I've said this on a show before, it's Michael Pierce. He's a defensive tackle out of Baltimore, and the one problem the Chiefs have had this year has been run blocking. And if you look at the PFF grades of Karlaftis, of Den, of Nani, of Chris Jones, and run blocking, it's not great. And although Michael Pierce's PFF grade in pass rushing isn't the best, it's still pretty good, but his run blocking is top 10 in the league. Dude knows what to do in run blocking situations and run defending. So I would like him. I think he could be the best option overall just because I'd like to get a guy who's better with the run defense if you don't get Chris Jones. That's just my opinion, though. I know some people still want him back, and people are going to sometimes clown me for even saying I don't think I want Chris Jones back. But I think at this point, that's just my opinion. And overall, he hasn't been a necessity on this defense. Travis Swift, 13. Oh, boy. Can the Chiefs team still win a playoff game in your honest opinion? Yes, but things need to go the right way. When you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, you have a chance to win any game, no matter what. The problem is this offense has been so hit or miss and has been more miss than hit. If you can get the offense going like you did against the Bengals, I think you have a good shot to win the wildcard game. And after that, it's anybody's game. But you have to go into the wildcard game with a set-in-mind plan, with an idea that this defense cannot hold you every time. You have to go out there and, quite literally, play as best you can because you need it. You need to. Next question here coming from Zen Charlie saying, with Dalvin Cook being released, should the Chiefs sign him and bring him in for the playoffs? So, funny enough, as soon as he was released, I thought the same exact thing because obviously McKinnon is on the IR currently. He could be back for the playoffs, but obviously don't exactly know the situation with him just yet. He will miss at least the first round, it seems like. I would like it. I don't know how likely it is. It would be league minimum and what he would sign for. So $1 million, pretty simple. I think there's other teams, though, that may give him a better offer. And at the same time, he's not really that good. I mean, Pacheco is way better than Dalvin Cook. I'd rather just give his carries to them, although maybe a depth piece would be good. This one's confusing me because I hear the name Dalvin Cook and I think, yeah, let's get him. But if I look at what he's done this year, I'm thinking, yeah, not a chance. That guy looks washed. I don't want him at all. So we'll have to see, but I would probably lean towards no in terms of actual percentage of chance of it happening. I would say it's probably around 20% chance. So that's just my opinion. Blake here with the last question saying, trade for Garrett Wilson. They may be putting Rice at wide receiver 1. Yeah, I could see that. I think Garrett Wilson is not going to be happening with the trade, though. I think Rice has established the wide receiver 1 role enough. Garrett Wilson, given he's loved Aaron Rodgers also, would want to stay next year. So I don't think we'll see that, but I like the question. I think it could be an interesting option. At this point, Brett Veach this offseason, I would like him to just ask everybody, hey, who's the wide receiver you're willing to trade us? See what they say, because you need it. You need it. Like the video for the Chiefs beat the Chargers. Get that like going. I know we always do this at the end of our mailbags, but hit that like button. I certainly appreciate it. It helps us out, helps the Chiefs out, and most importantly, it makes sure you're not the jinx, because we know who likes the video, we know who doesn't. So anybody who didn't like the video before Christmas, I'm to come find you, because Chiefs lost, and I have to blame that on you. So we appreciate you joining us here for this Chiefs mailbag, and hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. We appreciate you, Chiefs Kingdom. Peace out. Let's go. Tony Soprano. I should sign Darnell Mooney. I like that one. I like that one. I think overall, Darnell will fit. See you later, Tony. By the way, 90 likes, guys. I appreciate it. 10 likes away from 100, too. So if we hit that, that'd be awesome. If you haven't liked the video, certainly appreciate it. If we can get to 100 likes, that'd be absolutely incredible. A nice little way to kind of round out the regular season. This is our last live show of the regular season, obviously, because we have the watch party on Sunday, but last Tuesday live show before the postseason. So I would certainly appreciate that. But how long till Steve is a head coach? Coach Bags? I think he could be. I think he's got to do a little bit more. And this is for the first year. The Chiefs defense has been amazing, so I don't think it could be one of those of 1 year of success. Let's hire you. No, that's not really how it works. But I could see him being a coach in 2, 3 years, 4 years. So that'd be what I say. But yeah, I think that's all we got for you guys. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us and joining us today. So, unless y'all got any last minute questions, I'm gonna say peace out, and we'll have a video out for you today. We'll have a couple videos out for you later, but we'll do that. Random gaming. If the Chiefs lose to the Chargers, yes, they are locked into the 3 seed no matter what. Win or loss, the Chiefs are the number 3 seed. They are heading to the 2023-2024 postseason, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, without further ado, though, we appreciate y'all. 91 likes, absolute legends. Really appreciate y'all. And yeah, without further ado, Issa, have fun at the game. And yeah, for Tex, I'm Jace. Peace out. See you later.